General Khalifa Haftar was once a lieutenant to Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi, but defected to the U.S. during the 1980s, where he became a citizen. Haftar found home in Northern Virginia, where he has invested more than $8 million in property, including a condo in Falls Church, an 85-acre estate in Keysville, and a single-family home in Vienna.
After the Libyan revolution, General Haftar went back to Libya to try to have a role in Libya, try to become president, basically. And he was appointed the general of the armies, of the Libyan armies, by one of the Libyan legislatures. And he has been basically, causing havoc in a civil war ever since.
In early 2019, Haftar aligned himself with the Al-Qaniyat militia in Tarhuna.
These guys had been bad boys both before they joined with Haftar and bad boys, continuing bad boys when they continued with Haftar, and committed some of the worst war crimes under Haftar's command.
This Libyan research team in Tarhuna is facing a grim task.
In June of 2020, a gruesome discovery was made in Tarhuna. 226 bodies and human remains, including those of children, had been unearthed. By October of 2020, more than 20 mass graves were uncovered in Tarhuna, with some of the bodies having been buried alive.
It's not the only place we found mass graves. It's not the only place we found civilians massacred and victimized en masse, but it's the worst location where we have evidence that that was going on.
There have been numerous assassinations throughout Libya, particularly of judges, of journalists, perceived political opponents, members of parliament, women legislators in particular have been targeted, women journalists have been targeted.
While justice for victims of Haftar in Libya may seem far out of reach, civil proceedings have begun against the warlord in the United States.
Under U.S. law, somebody acting under what we call color of authority, meaning having an official role in a government, and if they act against the accepted laws of war, international treaties, they can be held civilly liable in the United States. And that's what we basically sued General Haftar under. He was committing torture. He is killing people indiscriminately, killing civilians indiscriminately, in violation of every single international treaty that exists governing law of armed conflict. And to my knowledge, he is the only person who is a U.S. citizen doing this under color of authority, under being an actual general in some other army. This is an American, and I think that is what is really, to me, important. We cannot have Americans going out there and committing these atrocities.
On Tuesday, September 29, 2020, a judge for the U.S. District Court in Alexandria, Virginia, rejected renegade Haftar's efforts to dismiss the lawsuits, calling the accusations against him very problematic and saying they're allegations of some very, very serious conduct. Haftar's attempts to claim immunity as a head of state were rejected by the judge, who gave the U.S. Department of State 60 days to formally weigh in on the matter. The State Department also rejected the claim, and on January 8, 2021, Haftar's legal team filed a notice of withdrawal and left the ongoing case.
What will make justice here and what will make this truly historic is when a general, a warlord here is brought here in the United States and actually presents all the evidence and is judged by a jury of his peers, and they are his peers because he is an American citizen. So he is judged by his fellow Americans, and they actually, after hearing all the evidence, hold him liable, which is what I think they will do. I think that will be a very, very powerful message. And I think it will be very powerful, General Haftar, to actually hear that these folks think that what he did was a war crime.
As the lawsuits unfold in the United States, Haftar finds himself vying for even greater power in Libya. On November 16, 2021, the warlord announced his candidacy for president of Libya. This, of course, comes after waging a more than 5-year-long terrorist campaign against not only Libya's internationally recognized government, but against anti-dictator and pro-democracy Libyans.